Savage. It's June the 4th, and when it comes to Hong Kong's once treasured freedoms, China's chilling effect is ever more apparent. 32 years ago today, the Chinese army crushed student protests in Beijing on the Square of Heavenly Peace, or Tiananmen. Thousands were killed, and while their deaths could never be properly commemorated in mainland China, there had at least been vigils in Hong Kong each year. Last year, the event was banned. Now, Victoria Park, where it's usually held, has been closed off, and one of the pro-democracy activists behind the vigil has been arrested. The founder of the Washington-based Hong Kong Democracy Council, Samuel Chu, told the BBC why China does not want the event to be marked.
China is extremely afraid of any mentioning and any public expression of commemoration or remembering. This happened in mainland China all throughout the last 3 decades. When the calendar flips to June, activists were rounded up and detained simply to prevent them from even doing something. And now this is happening in Hong Kong. And I think it shows that they're so afraid of the courage and the bravery of even just a few people.
Our reporter Danny Vincent is in Hong Kong. Danny, what, if anything, has been going on over the last few hours?
Well, in the early hours of this morning, one of the most prominent activists in Hong Kong, one of the organisers of this now banned vigil, was arrested outside of her office. Many people here feel that that was somewhat of a deterrent for other activists and ordinary Hong Kongers that were planning in their own way to try to mark this date. Compared to last year, when the vigil was also banned, there's a significant change of mood in the city. Last year, thousands of people defied the ban and still gathered in Victoria Park and tried to commemorate the passing of these student activists that were killed 32 years ago today. Victoria Park today is surrounded by police. There are journalists in the area, but very few ordinary people were able to go in. There are big signs explaining that if you are to enter the park, you may be breaking the law. But in other corners of Hong Kong, there are small groups of people trying to commemorate the day. I'm in an area called Causeway Bay, which is a busy shopping area, and behind me there's a group of around 3 or 4 activists with some banners and a television screen, and they're showing images of what happened on June 4th, 1989. There are also police around. Some are looking at the phone, some are looking at the activists that are essentially trying to mark this day. But I think there's a level of uncertainty in the air here. Hong Kongers for 3 decades have been able to mark this day, and this feels like the first time from their really being physically prevented from doing so.
Danny Vincent in Hong Kong, thank you. Well, commemorating the massacre in the physical is getting harder and harder, as you've heard. But what if Chinese people, including those in Hong Kong, want to mark the anniversary online? Let's speak to our China media analyst, Kerry Allen. Kerry, how hard is it for Chinese people to discuss or to remember what happened in Tiananmen Square?
It is extremely difficult. This is the biggest exercise in censorship that takes place online every year. There are hundreds of censored terms, and people know that anything they post, they could be held accountable for it. The police could literally come knocking on their doors. Now, we're talking some very obvious terms like tanks, Tiananmen, Tank Man. If people even mention these on platforms like Sina Weibo, which is China's version of Facebook or Twitter, these will get censored. But also on this day, or even the most innocuous terms like 46 or 64, 4 being the day, 6 being the month. These are removed so people can't see posts that mention the word 46, and even the word candle and emojis that have candles in them. So a birthday cake, for example, people can't even post an emoji of a birthday cake because it's got a candle on, and a candle is a way that people mark their respect to somebody who's died. So this is completely removed from the platform on this day. And if it's your birthday, you can't you can't send somebody a picture of a cake.
Some people, though, clearly do want to commemorate Tiananmen Square. Can they get around this censorship somehow?
They can, but it's increasingly difficult. I mean, I've seen in previous years even the word big yellow duck has been censored because people have taken pictures of inflatable ducks and used them to replace tanks. They manipulated pictures to put them on platforms like Sina Weibo. But people are increasingly, every year, you see ways that people are trying to get around it with new ways of new ideas to commemorate the event. So, for example, this year, people are, instead of posting pictures of candles, they're posting pictures of their own light switches in their houses with the numbers 6-4 on top of them.
Kerry Allen, thank you very much.